Hey everybody, welcome back to Crossing Kin. As you can see, we are in the Crossing Kin garage bordering on summer. So don't get too accustomed to it being out here with us. We will probably be moving to the Crossing Kin living room in a little while. It's getting too hot already, and it's just May, June, sometime.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Crossing Kin. I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy. Thanks for being here.
And today we are celebrating the fact that we are nearing Father's Day.
Woo-hoo! Up in the air for fathers!
Now, we do want to recognize all of the biological fathers. I, of course, have the absolute best one in the world. Y'all are welcome to fight me in the comments on that, but you will lose. We also want to recognize that not everybody has a biological father, and instead, some people have more of a father figure that they look to represent on this day.
Let's face it, even if you have biological fathers, you have men in your life who put themselves into your life, and there are things that you garnered from them that maybe you didn't get from your dad. I know that there are men in my life who mentored me and guided me along a pathway that, in ways that my dad, I love him to pieces, loved him to pieces, but in ways that he necessarily wasn't gifted. So, salute to all of those men who are mentors or father figures or have something to say to younger men in their lives, younger people in their lives.
As a way to honor these men, today we are counting down the top 10 father figures from television. Now, animated and live action are game for this list, and we do want to say that even if these men do have children, they play a father figure to others in their respective
We,
television shows.
we,
All right, so let us begin. As is custom, we have 5 honorable mentions. First up, we have D.B. Russell from CSI, as played by Ted Danson. He was the last boss character in the original CSI run, and the minute he stepped on the screen, he was being dad to literally all of the CSIs, particularly Morgan,
mm-hmm.
who had kind of a rough relationship with her dad, and he actually helped her patch up that relationship. Greg, he also had a pretty decent impact
Sure.
on, and Nick. Those were the ones he kind of impacted the most, I would say.
In his personal life, he's married to a Mary Steenburgen,
Mhm.
who was raised in Arkansas.
So yeah, but and again, it's Ted Danson, and older Ted Danson just can't help but be a bit of a dad in every single
Well,
show he's in.
even in Cheers, Ted
Yeah,
Danson
bit of a
was
dad to
a
Woody
bit of a
Harrelson's
dad to
character.
Woody Harrelson and everybody who came into Cheers.
That's
Let's
fair.
face it, Ted Danson. Kristen's absolutely right. The minute he comes on the screen, he is a just a
Warm.
he commands your attention.
Yep.
And this role in CSI is such a departure from the original boss's character, and they played that
In
beautifully.
that he's so much warmer towards everybody and
Absolutely.
it actively seeks out to make it more of a family. Nothing against Grissom,
Right,
but
absolutely not.
he seeks to make it a family more than work.
And less geek, more gay, more dad, so
All right. Up next, we have Nate Ford from Leverage, as played by Timothy Hutton. Yes.
correct.
He obviously is the team leader of the little Leverage crew of grifters and con men. He definitely takes on a dad role, particularly to Parker and Hardison in the show. His relationship with them is very good, very sweet. He's constantly giving them dad advice, and considering he is a character who we open the show learning that he lost his biological son, him taking the dad role with particularly Parker is just so sweet, especially since Parker is a very messed up mentally character
Yeah.
who needed Nate as
Uh,
that guiding light.
Also, Timothy Hutton, about the time the Leverage got kicked off, I want to say he was still in the process of grieving his own dad.
Mhm.
Um, Mr. Hutton,
Yes.
who played Ellery Queen on television and was a television and movie actor as well.
He dressed up as Ellery Quinn at one point,
In
didn't he?
fact, he did. He dressed up as Ellery Queen in one of the episodes of Leverage. Leverage happens to be one of our favorite television shows. If you're looking for something to binge, we highly recommend it and its sequel,
Leverage Redemption, which is coming soon to Amazon Prime. It's no longer a Freevee original. It's gotten bumped up straight to Prime. Season 3 should be coming here very soon.
But for the original,
also Freevee.
Timothy Hutton, very well. Shepherds and mentors, sometimes in kind of curious ways. So, but the Leverage team is a team because of him.
Yes. All right. Up next, we have Admiral A.J. Chegwin from JAG. The actor's name escapes me at the moment, but he, again, if you've not caught it in the honorable mentions, this kind of seems to be where the bosses of particular shows have wound up. A.J. Chegwin, in particular, to Harriet and Bud, really does seem to mentor and just take on, especially with Harriet.
John M. Jackson.
Thank you. Especially with Harriet, he seems to take on the father role when she becomes his aide. Like in season 5, I think. Like, he just talks to her about her pregnancy. It is just so sweet. And she's the only character he's like that with. And it's such a cute father-daughter relationship that they forge through the seasons until his departure in, I think, season 9.
Yeah, he was on there for quite some time, and that character rolls on over to NCIS, LA, right, and which is really kind of neat. The back and forth that he continues to be even with the cast of LA.
All right, up next we have Cabe from Scorpion. He is the cop that, for want of a better term, babysits the gang of nerds on Team Scorpion. Dad, you want to talk a little bit about Cabe?
Tough FBI guy at the very, very beginning, basically dad figure to everyone on the team.
Every single character. Paige, Walter, Happy.
Yeah, they all benefit from his tutelage. So,
all right, and our last honorable mention is Dwayne Pride from NCIS New Orleans.
We love Scott Bakula. He's going to make every countdown list we can figure out. That's male anyway.
Everywhere we can put Scott Bakula, we will be putting Scott Bakula. Just
we love
know this.
Absolutely love him.
But Pride is a lot like DB. He takes his NCIS team and he strives to make it a family. And him and LaSalle have a dad-son relationship right from the get-go, and his little go learn things, like you've said stuff like that to me constantly. And Dwayne, he's just a good old boy. I mean, he's Scott Bakula. What more can you ask for?
We love Scott Bakula, but Scott Bakula in the Pride role does exactly what Kristen says. He just basically brings the team together and raises them up.
All right, and now
on with the countdown.
Daddy?
Thank you, Mr. Kasem, for that line. Coming in at number 10 is one of our favorite television shows. Yeah, it's set in New York, and we're from the South, and so there's a little bit of a learning curve there, for us anyway, but it stars one of our favorite characters in Gary Sinise. But in his role as Mac Taylor in CSI New York, thank you, he has the opportunity. You're going to see a theme develop as we go through our countdown today, whereby a person who has he's a type A type person, okay, a strong character, comes into a group that he either assembles himself or he endears himself to very quickly. This is the case in NCIS New York, CSI New York. Okay, alphabet soup. I'm just telling you.
Too many letters on television. Too many letters on TV.
Yeah. Elemental P. Anyway, so Mac comes on the scene. It's a spinoff also from CSI. I mean, you see parts of his team initially in the CSI
Miami.
That's right. It's a spinoff from Miami. So Mac comes on the scene, coalesces his team together, finds out he does the brilliant thing of what any leader does. He finds out where strengths are, he finds out where opportunities areas are, he emboldens the strengths, and he raises up people from their opportunities. You're going to
He
hear that a lot too,
he also never hesitates to reprimand
without
when
doubt.
they screw up,
Discipline,
particularly Danny
exactly.
and Hawk.
Yeah, discipline when discipline is due is one of these things that you'll also see as a recurring thing in our father figures. Mac from CSI New York.
All right. Coming in at number 9, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars The Clone Wars. Hey, if you didn't watch our month-long celebration of Star Wars from last month, there will be a card somewhere up here with an entire playlist of our Star Wars fare from the month of May.
And thank you for joining us at Star Wars Month.
Yes.
Last month is one of the highest viewed so far of any Crossing Kin videos that we put out there. We really, really do appreciate it.
Obi-Wan, father figure to Anakin and Ahsoka, and even to some of the clones
Yes.
throughout the course of this show. I mean,
More so
More-
in Clone
more
Wars.
so in Clone Wars than we saw in any of the prequels. But again, Clone Wars, as we've said multiple times, Clone Wars had more time than the prequels did to fully develop that. And Obi-Wan, I mean, he's the king of sass. He's the sassy dad.
Which you wouldn't really know if all you've seen is like episode 4, 5, and 6.
1, 2, and 3.
Well,
and then
discount 1, 2, and 3
and
because
then,
Obi-Wan was
yeah.
introduced in episode 4.
Yeah.
If you go back to the original source material, he's kind of a father figure to Luke, but he's really quick in the whole process, and he doesn't get to really exacerbate that opportunity to influence Luke as you go forward. That's the beauty of Clone Wars, is you get to flesh out some of these characters that you know and dearly, dearly love.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan does wind up brother figure, possibly more to Anakin, father figure to Ahsoka.
And then Cody and some of his clones, definitely a bit of a father figure
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
them. Because of all the Jedi, Plo Koon aside, because let's face it, Plo Koon's one of the best. He is one of the few Jedi that really, really cares about his clone squad and will do whatever he can to take care of them.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, we need your help. Okay, moving on along. Number 8. This comes from a character that has been around at Disney forever. You may, until a generation of you guys discovered DuckTales, you might not know who Scrooge is. But Uncle Scrooge has been around for Donald for a very, very long time. He was a character that was introduced in I believe, in comics originally. And then he came onto the scene when you got DuckTales. Thank you.
Originally voiced by Alan Young in the original series. For those of you who don't know him, he was Wilbur in Mr. Ed. And then
Wilbur. Sorry.
And he was also a voice on our Adventures in Odyssey radio drama pretty much up until his death. Although I will say, one of the last reports I heard about Alan Young was that he gave his blessing to David Tennant, who took over as the voice of Scrooge for the DuckTales reboot.
Yes, and I mean, you couldn't really have asked for a better replacement.
He does a great job.
Let's
talk about Scrooge. He's been around for Donald, probably more for Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
And he's wealthier than anybody.
And, what's the little girl's name? Webby?
Webby, yes.
Webby.
Webby's one of those that came along later, too.
But they made her bigger in the spinoff. That's why I mention her. But Huey, Dewey, and Louie particularly. I mean, Donald, I think in the original series, Donald was going off into the Navy. And so that's why Huey, Dewey, and Louie had to come and stay. And Scrooge took them and was just like, after some initial with it, he's like, all right, you're my kids now, so let's do it.
Well, let's face it, Uncle Scrooge is a bazillionaire.
Yeah.
Okay? And so it took this bazillionaire bachelor getting 3 kids. And then you just imagine. I mean, go back to the original DuckTales.
Mm-hmm. On Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus.
Yeah, both DuckTales are available to stream on Disney Plus. I like them both. Original DuckTales is probably better. But if you want like a full-on epic story saga thing, New DuckTales really does have that.
Go check out DuckTales the movie too.
Oh yeah, the Lost Lamp.
Yeah, DuckTales that really unpacks some things and fleshes out Scrooge's character and makes him a little bit more human too.
Yeah, with the genie.
Uncle Scrooge from DuckTales.
Uncle Scrooge. That's literally how they wrote it in the
Uncle.
Uncle Scrooge.
Right.
Uncle. Unca Scrooge. It's
Yep.
so cute. All right, coming in at number 7, we have Professor Charles Xavier from all of the X-Men television shows.
I think we could just say enough said.
Yeah,
Our audience knows exactly who that is.
we know exactly who that is. Go watch X-Men 97 on Disney Plus. Charles is obviously the father mentor to all of the X-Men. Cyclops probably in particular in all of the television shows. Cyclops and Jean. But I mean, it's Professor Xavier. Enough said. Everybody knows who Charles is. Go watch Wolverine and the X-Men, X-Men 97, the original X-Men 90s cartoon, and X-Men Evolution on Disney Plus. Yeah. Professor X was number 7, so who is number 6?
Now, those of you who are like me, who have had nothing but daughters, and have had on the occasion to get in touch with your feminine side, okay?
This is his way of saying I made him watch this show.
And I loved it, okay?
He did.
No doubt about it. Gilmore Girls. We love Luke from Gilmore Girls.
Luke
He
Danes.
is really Luke Danes. He's really the only manly man in the whole TV show.
This is true.
And you find him not only being a father figure to Rory, but in a lot of ways to
Jess and Lane.
everyone. I
Yeah,
mean, he
and
winds
Paris.
up
he weirdly winds up in the position to be a father figure to half of the teenagers on this show.
and a lot of the adults.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, a lot of the adults wind up being at least advised by Luke because this city is insane. The town is nuts.
Stars Hollow.
Stars Hollow seems to have its, I shouldn't say crazy, eccentric characters. That's a much nicer word.
And they all gravitate to Luke's diner.
And they all gravitate to Luke's diner. I am an eccentric person. I make Cersei crazy, okay?
You would definitely gravitate to Luke's diner.
I would gravitate to Luke's diner and sit, have a cup of coffee, and just listen to great advice because he's a man's man. He's got common sense when nobody else does. And
although Luke can be a little immature, but I do love that he is also one of the most protective people in the show. Like Dean breaks up with Rory and Luke bans him from the diner and starts a fight with this teenager in the street because he's protecting Rory. All right, and coming in at number 5, Dad will not be able to speak to this because he has only watched 2 episodes of this show. He's watched the 2-part pilot. But I told him when we were doing this father figures list that this character was going to be on the list and he was going to be in the top 5.
May I have a disclaimer?
Yes, you may.
I'm not an anime fan.
This show is not necessarily anime, but it definitely pulls from anime influences.
Without doubt.
The show is Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the character is Uncle Iroh. Honestly, I could say the same thing like we did with Professor X. Enough said. So much has been talked about Uncle Iroh.
UNCLE. Uncle, not Unca.
Uncle, yes. Uncle Iroh. And he's so... he is exactly what the character of Zuko needs. I'm not going to go into too much spoilers because I really do want Dad to watch this with me at some point all the way through. It's 3 seasons of your life, Dad. It's just 3. But anyway, for just the basics of the character without getting into too much spoiler territory, Uncle Iroh saves Zuko from an abusive household. And he gives Zuko the tools to overcome his trauma and abuse that he had suffered from the day he was born to age 15. So, and he guides and mentors. And all of this is happening while he is grieving his own son's death. So, Iroh really, really, really overcomes a lot and takes his own pain, his own grief, his own hurt, and channels it into being a good man for his nephew. And also the live action that just got released on Netflix, the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, same deal. Uncle Iroh, while he is not quite the same as the cartoon, he is still a very warm, caring, kind, sweet, exactly what Zuko needs in this show. Uncle Iroh is the ultimate ride or die for his nephew, and he's the best character in the Avatar: The Last Airbender show.
I will.
On to number 4.
Number 4. let me just say, we love Bad
We
Batch.
do.
We love Bad Batch.
So much.
Thank you, Disney and Star Wars, for bringing us this offshoot, and Mr. Filoni of Clone Wars. It's a spinoff from Clone Wars. It is a phenomenal, and we can't wait to see how Mr. Filoni is going to use this in the future because it was left with enough of a cliffhanger, kind
That
of
we're wondering where we're gonna see certain people
certain
next.
characters. We won't
We're
spoil it
not
for you.
spoiling. Go
3
watch Bad
seasons,
Batch.
Disney Plus, go watch Bad Batch. But it also includes one of these characters who is a team leader who knows the strengths and weaknesses of his team and plays into those, encouraging the opportunity areas, manifesting and taking it, not taking advantage, but utilizing the strengths of each of his team. And that is Hunter from Bad Batch, team leader of Clone Troop 99.
Clone Force 99,
Clone
yes,
Force
sir.
99. We love it.
While adopting little Omega. And do not misunderstand. Yes, they call each other her brothers. She calls them her brothers. Hunter is Omega's dad.
They're clones.
Hunter is Omega's dad. Just full stop. Nobody's going to ever convince me otherwise. Hunter, for all intents and purposes, adopted Omega. And while we're not getting into spoilers, the last scene is only between Hunter and Omega.
Right. And I mean, it's, again, watch it in the context of Clone Wars. Watch it in the context of a chronological viewing of the Skywalker saga. And it really, man, it does a very good job filling in gaps
We
and
can't say enough about how much we love this show.
giving you a different portion of a galaxy far, far away. Hunter from Bad Batch is our number.
All right, coming in at number 3, we're
Top 3.
sticking with Star Wars. We have Kanan Jarrus / Caleb Doom from Star Wars Rebels. Now, we've talked about Kanan before in Star Wars Month. He is, for all intents and purposes, he is a refugee from the Clone Wars because, had to survive on his own from like age 13 till he ran into Hera somewhere
And survived
and survived Order 66.
Order 66.
And he met Hera, and then they proceeded to spend the next several years adopting a bunch of people.
And let's face it, they are a team.
Mhm.
He's not the boss.
Nope. And he knows it.
Yes.
He
And
knows
he
it.
knows it.
He knows it.
It is one of those really, really unique type A personalities who meet, fall in love, and they understand where their dynamics are.
He might be Spectre 1, but he knows exactly who the captain of the ship is.
Yes.
But like I said, he and Hera proceed to just adopt all these children. They adopt Zeb, they adopt Sabine, they adopt Ezra. And for all intents and purposes, Ezra is Kanan's kid most of all.
And they adopt Chopper.
And Chopper was Hera's first.
Yeah, they kind of put up with Chopper.
They put up with Chopper. But anyway, they adopt AP5.
Yes, that's true.
But anyway, Kanan and Ezra's relationship, oh my goodness, it's one of the most beautiful relationships in Star Wars. In my opinion, it is probably the best master-apprentice relationship in all of Star Wars.
I would agree.
Because it's not the Anakin overly attached, constantly mad because you got in danger relationship. It's more of an understanding of you're gonna be in danger, we're in a freaking war thing, and I know you're reckless. I'm gonna make sure you don't get killed. I'm gonna train you enough so that you don't get killed and I don't have to worry about it. And then, spoilers for Rebels, because I'm gonna spoil, let's be honest, he dies saving his kid and his girl.
Right.
Like, what more can you ask for?
Ultimately, you find up a father figure. I mean, ultimately, he gives up his life for those he loves.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ask for more.
Can't ask for better.
That was Kanan Jarrus.
Jarrus at number 3.
Jarrus at number 3. And number 2. If you've watched Crossing Kin for very long.
In the last year.
You know that we're fans of the person who played this character. We're fans of him from Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Mm-hmm.
We've watched a few of those episodes. We haven't watched the entire series.
We do have the entire series.
We do have the entire series, and we don't have the movies that came off of Man from U.N.C.L.E., but we're talking about Ducky from NCIS, the original television show, still going strong, still creating content. They've got 2 spin-off television
Series
shows coming.
And the original series is still going, and NCIS Sydney got renewed.
And NCIS did a beautiful job of laying Ducky to rest.
And the way they did it, they not only let the actor who played his surrogate son in the show, Brian Dietzen, write the episode where they honored Ducky. The whole episode is literally Jimmy, the character Brian Dietzen plays, honoring Dr. Mallard.
Well, and one of the things
it's so beautiful.
I'm so
to
sorry.
me. No, you're fine.
Ducky not only directly mentored Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
into the medical examiner's position, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but he also mentored all of the rest of the team in the span of the television show. You see Ducky's influence into each character, especially Gibbs, especially their friendship, which
Mm-hmm.
was more brotherhood, I think, than father figure, but it could very easily border over into that whole
Yeah.
father figure. And Ducky touched everyone who came into the show.
Something I've realized in watching old episodes, anytime anybody needed to go and just talk their feelings, like even if they weren't directly talking them to Ducky, if they just needed to speak their feelings, they would go down to Autopsy and they'd wind up having a conversation with Ducky.
Absolutely. I mean, it is, he's one of those television characters that is dearly beloved for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he is portrayed by an actor that
Who was
is
even more dearly beloved.
outstanding. So we've had our moments of NCIS glory, and Ducky is our number 2 father figure in our countdown.
All right. And coming in at number 1, we have Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, from the television show Hawkeye, streaming on Disney Plus and as played by Jeremy Renner.
Now, if you just know Hawkeye from the Marvel movies, you may be scratching your head and saying, "What?"
Well, the Hawkeye TV show pairs him up with Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop. And oh my goodness, that is such a sweet relationship.
And the show itself is phenomenal.
Yes, it possibly is getting a season 2. I read today that there are rumors, reports, and conversations happening about a season 2 coming soon.
That'd be great.
So fingers crossed.
For them to do Young Avengers, you would think that they need to build more.
Yeah.
Of a backstory there for those guys.
Yeah. But Clint and Kate's relationship, it's so cool because the way they set it up, Kate witnesses the Battle of New York from Avengers. She witnesses it from her breaking apart bedroom because her apartment was literally right there where all the aliens were invading. And she watches this guy with a stick and a bow fighting aliens and then swinging off a building and managing not to die.
And that's the only character she really saw out of the entire Battle of New York. Mm-hmm. And so you can imagine not the infatuation, but at least the fascination with who this cat was.
And then it inspires her to take up archery, take up gymnastics, take up some sort of martial arts. I don't remember what it was, but it inspires her to take up these activities because she's like, I want to be just like that guy. I want to be like him. And then she gets to meet him, and Clint's like, this kid is going to get herself killed if I don't help her. Like, and so he, for all intents and purposes, takes Kate under his wing. And yeah, you can call this more of a mentorship, but Kate does not have a dad. She really, the stepdad, boyfriend guy that's there, he's precious and cute, and I love that character, but he's not a dad.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning that Clint is a father to begin with.
Yes, to 3 kids.
Mm-hmm. Whom he dearly loves. He is a good, by everything that we see, at least in the MCU, Clint is a good father to his own kids. Why would he not be to
this girl who, again, is clearly going to get herself killed without Clint's help?
Well, actually, she's going to get herself her own team, but I mean,
But taking that a step further, he also decides to take up a bit of a father figure role. I mean, it's only for a minute, but to Yelena. When she shows up, Yelena comes around looking for revenge because she blames Clint for Black Widow's death. I mean, yeah, but she's also been kind of, set on his path by what's her name, and hopefully we'll figure out why in the Thunderbolts. But anyway, Clint is like, not fighting you. I know exactly who you are. I'm not fighting you. Let me now adopt you. Because, like, he instantly starts trying to give her advice and be all sweet with her. And it's just like, Clint, and he does the same with Wanda in the MCU. Like, that seems to be Clint's role in the MCU. Finding these young ladies who desperately, desperately need somebody to look after them and being like, I got it. I got him. Seriously, if we just called Clint during WandaVision, none of that would have happened. He would have gotten her taken care of and all sorted out.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have made very much of a story for WandaVision.
WandaVision, but you agreed.
Oh, absolutely.
He would have got through to her and gotten her sorted.
And please understand, I mean, why we chose him as as our
Our
number
number
one
one.
father figure is he's one of our favorite characters.
Yes.
So he's Kristen's absolutely favorite Avenger. Jeremy Renner does a beautiful job.
And he's a superhero in real life.
Even when he's brainwashed by Loki, does a beautiful job of portraying this character. We tend to agree with him that Disney and Marvel have not really fleshed out Hawkeye's character.
That's why season 2 would be awesome.
Near enough. Absolutely. We would love to see a season 2 of Hawkeye. We'd love to see more Bad Batch too, but we're not going to get that. But anyway, that's why, there's a rolling theme through here. These are all shows that we love and hold dear to our heart and have watched over the last 20 years or so and have come out. And we really do. Clint is probably, as far as he has kids and the people that he mentors and advises, I think, he deserves to be number one.
I agree. All right, that is it. That is our top 10 father figures. Did we leave anybody out? I guarantee you we did.
Oh,
As
yes.
Dad said, we can only speak to the shows we know. And these were the guys that I was able to come up with for the list. I'm sorry. Again, please leave the dads we missed out in the comment section down below or email them to us at crosskin6496@gmail.com.
Happy Father's Day to those of you who are out there who have the awesome privilege of having children. Bless your lives. Happy Father's Day to those of you who are leaders in your community and you find these impressionable young people to mentor, to guide, to give great, great advice, to be that father figure for them. Happy Father's Day to you. You deserve to be honored as well. Like we said on the outset, there are men in my life. My father, a loving, absolute best father ever. I guess Kristen and I'd have to argue about that, but absolute greatest dad ever. But there were men in my life who, especially even since Dad's been gone now, that have mentored me, and I would see as a father figure role. But that's a different thing than being a father. Don't think for a second that we are elevating father figures to that same role.
Thank you to the men that have taken it upon themselves to mentor and guide everybody from my generation and beyond.
Continue to do that. Their generation needs the help.
Yes, we do. All right, and so we are signing off from the Crossing King Garage.
Thank goodness, because it's hot.
Happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Father's Day, Daddy.
Thank
I
you,
love you
sweetheart.
very much. I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy, and from the Crossing King Garage, we're glad you came as a part of the family to just hang out for a little bit.
Bye.
See ya.